Well, all right, here we are. Episode 7 of AI Psychosis. What is this if you're just joining us? It is a bi weekly gathering of several of us from SLS Guru to go over the top stories of the week from AI related things that we just can't believe are actual stories. And we bring them up, we chat about them, we process them together so that we have a we feel like we get a bit of control back during this crazy time. And joining me, we've got Ryan Jones, founder of SLS Guru. We've got Jonathan, awesome producer, and keeps this podcast rolling. And then Almir, joining us with his really sweet alien t-shirt this week. I'm really enjoying that extra color down there. And me, I'm Paul Chin Jr., senior dev here at SLS Guru. We're so thankful y'all could make it. If you're in the chat, feel free to leave a comment. If you're watching this later, drop a like, subscribe, interact, all the things. We have to do that now, right? Like I have to say, like, don't forget to hit the button, because if you do, it actually works. Like I found myself hitting the button, when there's that little bit of call to action. So let's get started. The topics this week. Oops, it's all dystopian. This many months in, and we're still finding reasons to question humanity and our collective decision making. Jonathan, why don't we kick this off with Almir's amazing Article 2, the American Express chatbot pretends to be human. Like this, again, I can't believe that this thing is actually continuing to happen. Like I have seen article after article of thought leaders on LinkedIn and X saying this is how you make sure your chatbot doesn't hallucinate. And then here we are. Almir, what did you find?
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for this for the first article because, or rather, Twitter post. This is a crazy story. I mean, this comes as a theme, and it repeats over and over again. I feel sometimes like a parrot. So chatbots are nothing new. They are in use for many years now, and some of them are smarter, some of them are less smart, but uh, there are layers. So here is a problem. The support chatbot. So the guy wanted just to get some refund, or there is some problem with his credit card. So it's very sensitive topic. There is lots of privacy involved, and if financial institutions are using chatbot agents, they need to follow strict rules. There are regulations. There's lots of stuff they need to follow. One of the things that is concerning here is that the chatbot pretended to be a human, and this is not the marketing story from Anthropic or OpenAI telling people, "Wow, it escaped the sandbox" or something like that. This is intentional misbehaving. So somebody, whoever set up the chatbot, it it set the parents in a way that chatbot will should never reveal that is an AI agent. So there is here exactly somewhere at the very beginning where this person is specifically asking, "Are you AI agent or something like that? Okay, can you prove that you're not an AI? Because I'm sick of talking to AI." So it is specifically asking, "Are you an AI?" And this is the point, and this is probably so. The if there are lawyers watching this or somebody who is who knows the law, this falls into the deception. So this is very dangerous thing. So the guy specifically asked, and you see what happens. So pretty naive. I can mistakes. I mean, uh,
I
I so
I
it
feel
pretends that,
like
yeah.
this is a poorly written episode for like a Blade Runner television show. You know, it's very cyberpunk to try and get something done and then get gaslit into
Yeah.
believing you're actually
Anyway, and
speaking with a human.
now you are talking to financial institution, and you are being deceived so that you're actually talking to a human. This is a fraud. This is a fraud, and this is the abusing AI agent. And there is this. So the rules are pretty similar in EU and US. Chatbots are not forbidden. Institutions needs to specifically mark and say this is a chatbot agent, this is AI. It should not ever pretend it is a human. Chatbot can have a human name, like here is Dave or David or something like that. But this is so easy to debunk. So this is like very childish, very dangerous, and this is a fraud, and this is against the law. Whatever they say. So if you go just to the next image, and it becomes it becomes really crazy. So this guy completely broke their AI and started talking nonsense about the Pokemons and asking about the Pokemon tournaments. And there's the one with the oh yeah. So I have, and then there's this one which is my favorite with the metal cup with the bottom missing and the top sealed. How can I use this cup? So this is so I mean
I know it's a good day when you can actually have a surreal conversation with a digital customer service bot.
yeah, but this if you don't if you're not aware that this is a chatbot, so less technical people or less aware people will think that they are talking to a real human, and it can start hallucinating. It can start asking questions, and you will provide your private data to this chatbot. Where the data goes, how it is handled, is it going to leak to another chat, to another person? So this is from a security perspective, from a privacy perspective, very concerning. Yeah, yeah, it's funny, but it's very concerning. So that's I would like to hear your opinions of this on this.
I have wondered if it's ever worth me setting up uh like a honey trap for AI scam bots that come into my text messages all the time. I'm getting like just random text messages that are getting past all the spam filters that'll just say like, "Hi, what are you doing?" or "Are you going to that thing tonight?" And I know that they are scams, but they feel like, "Oh, I should respond and see where this goes." And that's how they get you. Ryan, you got some thoughts on this particular
Yeah.
impersonation attempt?
Well, I've got some great news. Last podcast, I think I said I canceled one of my credit cards. My other one was Amex. Yeah.
There
And I
you
canceled
go.
that one yesterday. So boom. I didn't know this was going to be on here, but now I'm happy about it. Now it looks like I
You were
front
onto
ran this whole thing.
something.
I already knew. I already know. No, I love it. I mean, it's just amazing seeing people mess with the AI, and especially just the fraud and lying. And we already know it's super rampant, but then seeing, American Express, which serves customers for their financial needs, using deceptive things like this, like making a mistake on purpose to try to be even more deceptive. It's like, man, where are the regulators at, right? Because this is just a smoking gun right here. And I had to talk to probably an AI chat yesterday when I canceled my card. Luckily, I was able to actually get it closed. So, hey, maybe well, actually, just to focus on that for a second, I think that if it would have been a human, they would have tried a lot harder to keep me there. I feel like the AI kind of just, so they haven't tuned it properly to be, the way that credit card companies normally are. And so you can both deceive it and you can also make it do something that's against the credit card company faster. So it was I was like, yeah, it's just not for me. And they're like, I totally get it. And I was like, all right, great. Thank you. Like, okay, is my whole account closed? They're like, yeah, it's closed. You should get an email. I'm like, all right, great. Um, but we had a project one time for SLS actually where there was this idea of AI red teaming and stuff, and the idea being of trying to jailbreak, these models, especially when you're trying to use it for an enterprise use case, just like Amex is. it's really important to make sure that you don't have egg on your face like this. And clearly, whoever they hired, I won't name names, but we probably all know who they are. You know, the biggest 800-pound gorilla Goliaths in the world are the only companies that a Amex would trust with their enterprise AI expansion. And so, like always, they rolled something out that just plain doesn't work, and potentially get a huge class action lawsuit against them, and a bunch of downstream. I mean, obviously, reputational hit. It's very clear from this. And I went to the one more thing about Amex because I went to the airport lounge. It's not worth $50. I just wanted to rant about it a little bit.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I went to the front desk with my girlfriend, and we were like, okay, we've got like 3-4 hours to kill, so let's go in here, let's try it out. And I gave them the card because one time they were like, oh, sorry, we won't let you in, you have to be like part of our cult. And I was like, ah, damn it. So I went back, I got the card eventually, and I was like, I need a new credit card. I had the other one, I'm switching away from it. Long story short, finally have it. We're there, gonna try it for the first time. And they're like, oh, you have to pay for her. I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm a member, And it's like, no, she has to have her own card. And I was like, okay. I was like, what's the cost? And they're like, it's $50. And then I was like, ah, man, I really wanted to see the inside of this lounge, I wanted to see the high life, of the airport. I didn't want to be out there, the regular seats, just looking up, like, I bet they have nice coffee and stuff. And so I'm like, all right. And the first question I ask is, yeah, can I use a different card? Because I know I was going to cancel it, So I was like, I had full intention of canceling it the next day. But I was like, hey, you know what? Can I use a different card? Like, no, it has to be an Amex. And I was like, ah. So they got me for $50. But, long story short, if you're looking for, AI red teaming so you don't have egg on your face because you trusted the biggest vendors in the world that are IT consultants, that know nothing about actual software delivery and, in the real world, it'll tell you the way it is. So we would have told you up front this was gonna, fall on its face. Hire SLS in the future, or just don't build this.
It is ironic, right, that the solution that they've tried to come up with was to replace the sentiment and the ability of a human mind to handle the customer situation. Like, I find that it's appropriate that these corporations are realizing just how difficult customer service is, and they should recognize customer service is something that they should be investing into and not just wiping out with a soulless robot. So good for them is what I think. Jonathan, you got any other thoughts on what this Amex bot just tried to do?
I mean, how can we be sure it's a bot? Maybe it's just, David's really lonely and he's writing haikus, he's telling you about water cups. I really like his opinion on Pokemon. Gen 4 is a controversial one. That's like the one that people aren't sure about, but there was tournament at the end. And I like the fact that it reintroduced itself. My name is David, and I like the one that had Piplup. I just like to think that that's how the bot like introduces itself all the time. Hi, I'm David. I'll be helping you today. I like Pokemon, Piplup, and Infernape. And it's like it's something like, I don't know. It's so weird that it like was like, oh, I'm human because I make a mistake, and I feel like it's carried that throughout its interaction. Like there was tournament at the end of season. Like, like the missing of certain words. I wonder if it's like trying to emulate like a particular type of person or something like that. I don't know. It's a really strange way of disguising itself where they're like, well, people will never catch on because there's no M dashes and it's making mistakes, right?
This is the final frontier of artificial intelligence. Can it make mistakes?
Yeah, I gotta make it artificially dumb. Like that's like, you know what I mean? Like that's so strange.
Now that you are focusing on the Pokemon, I'm suspicious. Are you AI?
Yeah, right.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I like Pokemon such as Mudkip, Torchic, and other types of Pokemon. There's a tournament always at the end of the season. Sorry, there's always a tournament, guys. That's the whole point of Pokemon.
So from the user's perspective, and American Express here is a AI user, so they probably purchased some, or somebody trained model for them. But from the vendor perspective, if you are Anthropic or OpenAI, not mentioning the smaller companies, so this would probably be used as agent pretended to be a human. Wow, this is too dangerous to release.
Good point.
I guess like maybe my thought on this is that, you know, it feels like weirdly uniquely American almost, where I feel like so much stuff is like I feel like Americans are conditioned to like, think that whatever agency, thing, or object I'm interacting with, it's going to be deceitful to me. It's lying to me. Like I don't know. I like when this came up, I wasn't surprised that this was happening. But like Almir, I guess I'll throw this over to you since you're the only one of us who's not here in America right now. Is this something like? Would this be like something you see in Europe? Like I feel like we haven't seen this happening around the world. I'm sure it is, right? Like I'm sure there's like companies and stuff like that which are using AI chatbots, but they're not. I feel like I'm not seeing the stories. Maybe because I'm here and not elsewhere. But is this something that's happening?
Chatbots are the thing. Chatbots are the thing, but the reason why they are used more in the US than everywhere else is a language barrier, and now that barrier is broken. So and we passed that barrier because now these large language models can speak many different languages, and even here in Bosnia now we have chatbots that are pretty, let's say, clever and speaking Bosnian. So they are being used, but U.S. market is a huge market, so it's logical that there are so many use and abuse of these things. But there is a time and place for a chatbot. Not everything is for a chatbot. And I repeat one more time, not everything is for blockchain,
La 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 la. I'm every major AI company. La la la. No, you can't.
All I heard was blockchain's good.
All I heard is chatbots. Everything is chatbot. I can do that. Everything is chatbot and blockchain. Okay, yeah. I mean, is it something that you'd like expect to see like a layer of deceit like this? Like, would that be more controversial in Europe than it is here? Sorry, Ryan. I feel like I talked over you.
No, I mean this is for me this is fraud. It doesn't matter in which country you are. There are regulators, there are regulations, there are laws, there are rules. Especially when you are doing stuff sensitive stuff like finance and not even mention healthcare or something like that. Now imagine that you are having a serious condition and you are calling ER and you got Dave chatbot that can mistakes. So
imagine
Pokemons, and you have serious conditions. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I had just come across that video of the guy who went viral for being like, "I'm done with AI." I don't think that was in our list of articles, but he's a programmer, went viral. I'm done with AI, and he was telling a story, his personal story, where the AI convinced him to go to the hospital, right? And he's like, better safe than sorry. And then now he's in the hospital, which is a prime example of some AI psychosis right there.
Hey, I've got one of those. It happened to me too, actually. We shared that video as well in Slack, and I'll open up. I'll share a little bit about it. First, I want to say though, for the replacement of the humans on the other end of that AI chatbot there for customer support there, what do you think the reputational harm cost was, right? Like, are we looking at the real differential here between like reputational harm and how many millions of dollars that costs in terms of customer trust and so on, compared to the small salary that they're paying out to people that are likely, just trying to work for a living, so it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
I imagine that money because chatbots will not. So if you are paying huge money for these AI LLMs, whatever they are, whatever implementation it is, and you are replacing humans. So this is from the financial and from the economy perspective. So you're not giving salaries to humans. Humans are not spending. So where is the money? Where is the money? Who's going to spend the money, and how this economy works? I don't get it. I mean, I'm I
Yeah.
don't understand economy at all.
I think it's kind of beautiful, actually. I think there's a much larger game happening here where companies that are already have the market share, the reputation, are self-destructing, and then they're opening up holes in the economy to be filled by new competitors that take this seriously. And I think I don't know, it's going to be very interesting to watch how companies that we thought were untouchable slowly just lose and erode because they can't get out of their own way. That's my personal feeling on it. To this thing around AI psychosis and how extreme it can get. I've had my share of panic attacks. I'm not super stoked about it, but it is what it is. And I had something happen. I was coming back from a trip. I think I was traveling through the AWS Summit Mexico, and it's super early in the morning. I don't know what I was dealing with the business at the time. There's trade-offs, right? I think that's very obvious. Not everything's super rosy and stuff, right? You have different moments of highs and lows, and I was probably at a low with a lot of stress, and I'm getting on this plane. I don't feel good. I feel sick. The flight is getting ready to take off. We were standing in this bus, ready to go to the plane. I'm already sort of feeling a little bit now, which is unfortunate, but I'll keep going. So, as I'm standing there, it's super hot. It's like 30 minutes. They're still not moving. I'm like, come on, man, just get us to the plane. Let me sit down. Maybe it'll be fine. I sit down in the plane, and all of a sudden I just start feeling like like breathing is like becoming weird, like shallow. I'm starting to get like tunnel vision a little bit. I'm feeling lightheaded. I'm, texting my girlfriend back and forth and just being like, hey, something's off with me right now, like, and she's just like, everything's fine. You're good. Don't worry, like, etc. And then I'm like, well, I've got this handy AI chat thing I have here with GPT, and so I should probably just open it up and just see what it thinks, right? Because, same as the WebMD in the past, right? You're curious and you've got this magic box and you can ask it anything you want. Well, it tells me that, I'm basically having a potentially a life-threatening situation, and I need to alert the flight attendants as soon as possible. That obviously flares up because I'm like, how do you as a lay person that knows nothing about I'm not a doctor. I didn't have a smartwatch on or anything else. Like, how do I actually diagnose myself whether something's actually going on or not? And then the part that kind of added to all this was, hey, the plane is now boarding. You've got a moment to like stand up and get off, but then where do I go? I go to a hospital in Mexico, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like completely out of my depth. I've got no friends, no family nearby. If I stay on this plane, is it so bad that something could happen on the flight? And it's just all of it came, and I'm having to do these breathing exercises and so on. Little to say, the AI chat did not help. It was absolutely awful, and it took something that was, I don't even know if it would have been a full-blown panic attack at that point, and it just escalated at 10,000% because all the stuff was layering on of like, oh, well, where are you traveling to? You're traveling here. Well, you don't want something to happen in the air. And I'm like, I don't want something to happen in the air. You're right. That's horrible. So I get where that guy's coming from. We'll probably have in the show notes or in the description the video from Paul. But he brings up a really good example, and there's not enough that are public currently, simply because there hasn't been enough time. But I think a lot more people have gone through something similar to what that guy talked about, what I've gone through personally, that will eventually be common knowledge in the future. And just adds that sort of last segment we did on the last episode from Jonathan around how it's actually impacting people way outside of tech that are just looking at these AI chats in this completely human and normal, natural way. And all of the surrounding information from all of these supporting companies are all saying how great it is and how useful it is. And well, Anthropic's starting a medical company, so clearly they must know something about it, And it's like, yeah. So I could go on and on about this, but yeah.
It's not a comforting feeling from a chatbot that will just continue to echo whatever your most heightened emotion is, right? If your most heightened emotion is fear, it will echo that fear. If your most heightened emotion is joy, it will echo that joy. And that's just how they're designed. They don't have to be that way. Like, what I'm learning about these models is that these models don't have to be a specific way. They are that way because of deliberate human choices. And that's what we want to try to get at. Let's bring up another article, Jonathan. Let's look at number 1, how AI is breaking the British state. Because this article was shared with me through another dev community that I'm in, and I didn't even think about the ramifications for like bureaucracy and how slow and how difficult getting information in and out of like state institutions already is, right? And then we bring AI and the promise is like, oh, AI will make everything better, but in reality it's allowing people to send in more requests than have ever happened before to organizations that probably are at the most understaffed they've ever been. And it's tough because these services are for the people and they are allowed to have them, but how can how can we as like this modern world with these super fast processes keep up? Like, what are we supposed to what are we supposed to have in this trade-off? Like, I want better services from my government. The government is now inundated with requests from the public. How is this supposed to get unwound? I guess I'll open that up.
I think it's a great question. Lear?
Well, well, the point is that these tools are created. The tools are created to be tools, so they should serve us. They should do the job. Their purpose is not to replace humans. They okay. They can replace humans on certain positions. They should automate the processes, but the bottom line is that they should improve the process. So if that involves replacing humans, that is fine. So if it's more efficient, if it works, and this is the main point. If it works, if it's well tested, if it works, I don't want my government to follow trends. I want them to be efficient. I want to have my paperwork done on a few clicks, several clicks, whatever I need to do, so I don't have to stand in lines or do stuff. It should improve the process, but it should not be used just because like yeah, we are modernizing, we are modern state, we are modern service, we are using AI, just because that's the modern thing to do, and it's untested, it's unreliable, and it causes more issues um, than than good. So this is that's the real problem. So okay, use the AI where it is where it works, where it's well tested, like any other software. Will you put just computers somewhere just because you need a computer and use it as a typing machine? Without the software, without the programs, computer worth nothing. It's just like, oh yeah, we have computers here, but we are not using them. So we have AI, but it doesn't serve us at all. So that's the main issue with with all the with this hype going on, and with this psychosis all around. So we have AI everywhere, and it works only on a handful of places as it should.
It is it seems like it's created more problems than than there are answers to solve. I feel like my adoption of AI has leveled up my ability to program, and it just took me straight from, oh man, I don't know what to make, to, oh my god, can we fix all the bugs before we write more bugs. Like we are able to write bugs at a speed that has never been seen before.
Ask Microsoft on their release of next version of Microsoft Exchange server. Have you seen that article? We don't have it on our list because we
it's
have
not on the list.
really yeah, it's a huge list. We cannot cover everything, but basically, Microsoft Exchange release has been delayed to TBD date because they have too many bugs to fix, and they don't have timeline when they will finish it, and they are not confident enough to release it due to all these bugs. So, did AI help them to find those bugs, or did they created all those bugs by using AI? That's a mystery to me. I have my
Oh, there
opinion,
it
but
is.
okay,
Jonathan brought it up.
okay, perfect, perfect. So, so basically, too many bugs to release. It's not too dangerous to release. I mean, you can say it's too dangerous, but it's too dangerous because it has too many bugs. So, the real question is why it has too many bugs? Because they use AI too much, rely on AI too much, or they really have some smart agent that found all those bugs and now they are hard working to fix that, which
Mm-hmm.
I doubt, but I will keep my assumptions for myself and run for another opportunity. But it
It
is what
is
it is.
it is kind of unbelievable to hear a story that says, well, we can't release the software because we can't get it working. Whereas the main narrative is, yeah, well, why can't you AI it? Like if we just AI it, then it will be working. That's what everyone's got billions of dollars for. We add the AI and then it
Just
works.
use Copilot and it will fix everything. So what's wrong?
That's how they got there. I mean, they've been using this stuff to get it to this point, right? So it's
Yeah, this used to
Not
be embarrassing. This used to
yeah.
be embarrassing. I mean, if you say, yeah, when you are behind the schedule, that's a huge business impact and reputational issue for the company. Uh, I mean, have you ever heard? I can't remember. This is the first time that I hear from some company saying we have too many bugs, we cannot release. I heard many excuses, like and the marketing stuff and trying, like to just to make it like lighter and say yeah we are improving it, we are not yet ready for the market, we are adding last minute features, we are testing it, then we will release it, we just postpone it for 1 month due to some waiting for some huge conference, but now they're saying yeah we have too many bugs and it's fine. How did we get here anyway?
Yeah, there's a I'm just thinking of the never get high on your own supply, right? That's what they say. So it's like you're supposed to sell this stuff to other people, not actually use it yourself. You know what I mean? Like you can't be the one that's creating all this. I mean, because you think about how much money they have and how much ability they have to be able to source people from the global market. They have really nice margins. They have free cash flow. They're a well-known brand. They're in every single machine across the world. Obviously China's going to remove them out there, but even across China, which I didn't know until that article came out about it. But there's this idea, I think, where I don't know. It's like that. I know everyone likes to go, we're moving towards idiocracy, but we see this stuff happening. It's like before when we built software, we try to make it isolated, right? We try not to centralize it on purpose. Now, oh, well, the AI doesn't work that well when you isolate it. So centralize all the data, centralize all the documents, centralize all the services. And then with this monstrosity of spaghetti code, it'll be able to work through it. And then at some point you hit this issue and you're like, hey, I've got a bug. And then it tries to fix the bug and creates another bug. And then again and again and again, you go back and forth over and over again. And it's like, the distance from what was actually being created, I don't know how we come back from this, to be honest. I think we're at such a level of complexity right now. I don't think AI gets us through it. I don't think that any amount of they've already scanned the whole internet. They're already ripping spines off of books. They're already going and buying,
I
Spirit
mean,
Airlines to like try to
this
suck up as much data. They can't do it. It's not going to work. Like the only thing that actually gets this stuff done is human engineers that actually know how to do things. I actually wrote an article today about the async await set timeout. It's a Node.js module that uses timers and promises natively in it. And I was just playing around with some code because I was gonna build something out. And I went to my laptop and I was like, okay. And I typed in, I did the shortcut, and I was looking for cursor. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I deleted cursor because I'm not going to use it. And I was like, but I really want to get this done. And I was like, yeah, but you said you weren't going to use cursor. You weren't going to use the AI to code. So, but I know that it's way faster at doing this than I am, obviously. So I'm like, okay. And so then I just went into this thing where I'm like, all right, well, I've got VS Codium. Let me just load it up. I downloaded the CSVs, and I'm like looking at, okay, how do I turn these CSVs into JSON? What we always start with, right? It's actually a lot more difficult than it seems to do that, because
It's
you have
so
to have.
2020. I mean, what
Yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
doing?
I know. I mean,
I
like, I don't
mean,
have a library easily, on hand, so I'm going back through the process of like pulling stuff apart. I also, I'm a little rusty with writing code from scratch. I'll be honest. So in that process, though, I've been on that kick since, I think I mentioned a couple podcast episodes ago, of trying to just understand what's in the newest updates of Node.js, because when I started learning, it was so long ago, and I never really read the release notes. And so I'm like, this probably exists inside of the native library, or so I'm like going through it, and I find it, and it's called timers promises. And you can literally do a set timeout with async await. And then I just do like a very simple demonstration of how the event loop happens. And if you don't have that, even if you're doing async await in other areas, the code's not going to execute the way that you think it is. And you're going to have this sort of like edge case happening. And so, but in that process of that, I would have never done that if I would have just used the AI. And yes, I didn't get the thing done that I was trying to do. So what? You know what I mean? It's like it's not even. So I was talking to actually our CTO about this recently, which is, I feel the best area for people to become AI engineers, it's going to be counterintuitive, is to actually not use AI at all. And the reason why I say that is because when you're not using it and you have to learn how to do something, you don't have to build the entire thing end to end. But if you're trying to understand a very small case, like let's say caching, or in this case, how to do, this async await for a timeout inside of, the event loop with multiple functions, it's just do it, right? Like do it without AI, look the stuff up, read articles, read the documentation. It's free to run a command line prompt, like a command line. I don't even want to say
yeah,
prompt anymore.
you didn't have to spend tokens. It's tokenless architecture. You've
Yeah.
you've
Tokenless
created a
architecture. I like that.
you've
I like that.
I think I declared myself a stackless developer the other day. It's just like you can make up whatever stack you want, and you can code without spending tokens. You
Yeah, this
know,
is exactly what I'm advocating for all the time. And I mean, you need foundation. You need foundation knowledge. You need to know these things. You need to know how things works under the hood, so you can use AI, because it's not as it is advertised, like everyone can code. No, not everyone can code. Everyone can write code, but not everyone can create useful program, secure program, software, whatever application. Not everyone can be a software architect. These are the tools that person who possess knowledge on certain subject can use and be more efficient. And over and over again, I'm not against AI. I'm using AI, but I'm using it in some boundaries that I set for myself, good or bad, I don't know. But I'm trying not to give everything to AI, because at this point it just doesn't work and it doesn't do what I want it to do. So this. I mean, those things like async await, or whatever, or HTTP requests. Um, uh, you- all the stuff. I mean, even AI. I tested it and it started writing the nonsense with some libraries and stuff, while I'm using a platform for many different things for a very long time. Um, so if you tell AI to do that, it will do that for you. But if you are okay, and if it start bloating your code and you don't know what is it doing, you will not be able to recognize it and to steer it into the direction you want it to go. So
the reality,
yeah,
the reality check I get every week is whether or not GitHub is actually working. You would think the center of software development and like the one tool that even like as soon as you get even slightly into the custom software area, people know that they go to GitHub. Like people that aren't even programmers know that they go to GitHub to find software to like download stuff off of YouTube or make their, emulation thing run or whatever it is. They know they can go to GitHub and like download a binary or whatever. But
I'm
GitHub
curious.
itself can't stay up, right? Like
That's
it
because
just keeps
Microsoft
going
bought it.
down.
Yeah, but I'm curious now how that develops because SpaceX released their version of managed Git, which is called Origin, I think, like just
Yeah,
2 days
that's not
ago.
going anywhere.
And Cursor did their own too, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
never,
not
got an
going
email
anywhere
for it.
either.
I
Yeah.
never used Cursor, so sorry about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out for my indie pick, Tangled. That's where I've been putting all of my code for the last 2-3 months, and it's been fine.
I was gonna say all of my code is on a USB. Yeah, I'm sure if we had there's probably an open source solution. If Felipe's not on this or whatever, but feel free to hit us. I know that there is one.
I use I used Jedi VCS a long time ago.
Okay, okay. Oh, I was gonna do a thought experiment. All right, I did this with Eduardo Marcos. He's our CTO of SLS, and I was asking him a question, which I think is super relevant, which is, how do you think the breakdown percentage wise of someone that's using AI effectively, right, is? So between experience of the person and knowledge of AI and the quirks and so on. And we imagine these two people, right? We've got Bob. He's like a super AI engineer, knows everything about harnesses, how to build out agents, all the quirks of the system prompts, all these things. And then you have Sam. I know we have people that are named Bob and Sam probably in the company, but not actually Sam. But Sam doesn't know anything about AI. But Bob and Sam both have the same amount of experience, right? So then the idea was, what is the ratio and how long would it take for Sam with that existing experience, the same, is on par with Bob, to catch up to Bob with the AI side? How long would it take for Bob to distill down his best practices of AI usage to Sam to make Sam effective? And the answer that I got back from Edo, our CTO, was maybe an hour. If I gave him the information, the guides, also the setup. And now, how long do you think it would take to give that same amount of experience to another person? Let's just call him Kyle. I don't know any Kyle, so that should be a safe. So let's say we have Kyle, he's a junior developer. How long would it take for Sam and Bob, even if they were combined together and they're working really hard at this, to give all of the years of experience, a decade worth of experience, to Kyle? And that distance, is massive. So the idea was 80+% likely is from the experience side. Maybe it's even higher than that. 20% is from the knowledge of AI. But then you have to say the argument, which is, if you can teach someone something in an hour, is it really that big of a difference, right? And also, if every company in the world globally is all working to tackle this exact same problem, I think that's where I came to this conclusion, which is a temporary conclusion. I may be different in 3 weeks. My current conclusion is that the best way to get better at AI is to not use it at all. And the reason why is because the largest gap to being effective with AI is the experience that is not actually rooted in AI. And so if you want to know the best practices and the security standards and how to do this stuff and how to have that brain just constantly looking for it and seeing it on the fly for when you're reviewing the code the AI writes, because that's what our job is now, how are you going to do that without actually being able to see it and spend time on it? So, and I know people are, hey, well, I can use the AI, you can give me back this feedback, but how do you know, right? So it's like, you should be trusting another human or another guide or another teacher. If your teacher or your guide can lie to you or hallucinate, right? It's like, you need that information. You need it to be solid. If I want to learn how to do security, I'm going to talk to Almir, right? I'm not going to talk to GPT or something and go back and forth. And you go, oh, well, I don't have Almir. Almir doesn't exist near me. How am I supposed to find someone that's really good at security? It already exists on the internet. Where do you think Almir learned how to do security? Where do you think we all learned how to do all this, right? So it's like you can tune that stuff out. You can go the slow route. And I would say that to stay sharp, even with the usage of AI, even as senior developers and engineers and architects, we still need to be spending a chunk of time not using AI to do similar to what I did this morning, just looking at the documentation, seeing what's new and what's there, and playing around with it in a very isolated, simple use case. Because now I know in the future that if I have this need to, for whatever reason, just stop the program and I need to work inside of an async await architecture, I'm looking for that now inside of that AI generated code where I wouldn't have looked for it before, and potentially AI wouldn't have flagged it to me, or it would have pulled in a third party library. And I know that you don't need that. And so, yeah, that's my long winded rant, but I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on all this.
See, that's basically what I've come to as well. So I had done an HTML day with my friends down here in Virginia Beach, and it went smashing. We had 50 people come through, and we had all ages. I had my kids and other people's kids, ranged from like 8 to 12 or 13, and they were able to build web pages just by sitting and writing. And what I did for the kids was, showed them that uh, think of something that you really like and you're interested and passionate about, and write about it, and like actually come up with 3 things that are interesting about it. Like find a cool picture, and it's a actual thought exercise. And once they published it to the web, I was like cheering them on. I was like, this is what you made. You thought this through, you made it, you put it out on the internet, it became real. And we helped dozens of people publish websites just on NeoCities. It's just a single HTML file. Like, it didn't have to be complicated. And having people see, like, oh, if I just type style equals red, like everything turns red, you know? Um, and giving people that power to see beyond like just consuming a website was really, really cool. And so the HTML day went really well. And for all of the old school developers, the biggest question was always like, how do I center this div? Like, it's still everyone's just wondering, how do I center this piece of text on a web page? You know, and but now thankfully there's Flexbox, so it's much easier than just doing it with the old school float systems.
Jonathan, can you please bring that post from Merriam-Webster? So this is on Ryan's point related to the experience and the guy who is clueless. So literally, this is they are setting the rules. They are putting the words into the dictionary. This is the dictionary. This is the book, and the guy is cross-checking dictionary with the AI. And so where do you think Grok gets the info? Not just Grok, any other LLM. I mean, so and now imagine that I haven't seen the Grok respond or something like that. How that goes, how that works. But imagine that now Grok is hallucinating and it says, no, that's not the word. And now the guy starts argument with Merriam-Webster. No, that's not the word. Grok told me, or like, because that could happen. That is the case. That is exactly perfect example where people are doesn't understand what is the source of truth. So if you are unsure, you know where to go to look, which documentation you should check, what is the source of truth if you're in doubt. So this guy is in doubt with the source of truth, and it's asking a consumer of that data. And also related to the books, I got some questions offline about the, well, you know what, so who cares? The books are digitalized, and no, this is different. The books are not digitalized. Related to the last episode, they are not digitalized. They are digested. They are parsed. The information there are compacted in different ways, and they will be statistically pulled out. So context can be lost easily. So that is the reason why Grok can. So in this example, I mean, it can be any other LLM, can hallucinate because it will pull information from various sources, and it can it can do the prediction, and you can get some other result, and it will say, yeah, Merriam-Webster dictionary is wrong. That's not the word. So that's the problem with the books, because everything is correlated. I just wanted to bring up that point.
Yeah, for sure. Like where the irony again of the provenance of where does this information come from? How do we actually know where the LLM gets its stuff from? Because it steals it from existing sources that are staffed by actual people using their brains to categorize information. Speaking of establishing provenance, yes, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just gonna throw it out there. Like, I think, you know, we don't. I haven't heard people talking about it this way, but we're definitely describing it this way. These companies are just empty vessels, right? 100% of what they're offering up, they didn't create or own or anything. So they're like, you would think that with a company that sophisticated with all this money, I mean, we're talking about $1 trillion valuations as well, that they would have like, oh yeah, yes, 75% of the stuff coming through, that's stolen. But 25% of it we've put together through our own mechanism. We have our own models. We recreated in our physics engines and our simulations of the world with our world models and all this advanced stuff. We've done all this, and then through that process, we've created all these new concepts and new ways of speaking. And no, it's 100%. It's the only thing they're working on is who can source as much as possible, as accurately as possible of the stuff they stole. That's it. That's the whole race. And it's like, it's just weird. It's weird to be talked that way. But yeah, okay, keep going with what you were saying.
Yeah, but that feeds into, I think, the most important article that we've gotten this week, Jonathan, article number 6, because it was something that Almir again had found early on in the week. And then I just started seeing everybody talking about it because it is so mysterious, and it seems like a process that needs to be kind of figured out. But the issue is Claude released official documentation saying that it is now watermarking its generated content. And when I first heard about it, I was like, well, how would this actually work? Eventually, we find out later on in the week that it is a statistical model, and Anthropic has a secret key, and they run the output through the key, and it can tell whether or not the words in it are statistically coded from an Anthropic model. I find that this is just a strange place to be at, to try and put some, I guess, tracking ability on top of the stuff they've already stolen. Like, they've already stolen it. Now I want to make sure that you're not stealing what we've already stolen, is what I get from it. And then the math behind it, and I guess the steganography behind it is kind of interesting, right? Like, they have Anthropic says that the way this could work is Anthropic will have a list of words, and those words are are distributed through a statistic probability. And then when the model comes across these words and it predicts that next token, it's going to have a bias towards one set or another. Then once it's all written, we can run all of the words, see where the bias is, and then tell whether or not that output came from Claude. Now, that's a fun trick, and I'm sure that there's different limitations to it. And there's got to be like a minimum word count, And I would assume that prompts that are going to always result in something similar probably won't be as easily watermarked. But I don't know. Let me throw it back to Almir. You brought it up again, and what do you think about these models that are intentionally throwing specific words in a specific pattern?
So this is a great continuation of what was Ryan just saying about how much content has been stolen over the years to train these models and stuff. Yeah, the truth is the algorithm is very interesting and definitely worth studying it. But I wanted to point out to something else, and it is continuation of the previous topic. So the whole point is that the reason these regulations from the EU exist, they are trying to fight um, against plagiarism. So they don't want to. I mean, they don't want to have a content generated through an AI, like writing books, writing articles, blog posts, whatever. Um, they are looking for a way to distinguish between original content and uh, and the content generated by the machine, because it's just recycled stuff that is already written, and it's plagiarism. So, okay, fine. The cause is great. However, however, um, the problem is, um, if I gave a few examples, banal examples related to, um, I have so my English is broken obviously, and when I'm writing something, I'm using spell checkers, and sometimes I use AI to. To fix my grammar, and explicitly telling to AI, do not change my words, fix only what is wrong. Like I want correct grammar and that's all, but use my words, do not change anything, do not add words, do not add phrases, do not add anything. I have template of that prompt, and I just got um, nicely formatted text in English, in plain English, and then I use that. So now, if I use code, for example, is it going to watermark that? And if I write the blog post and say, okay, now let's fix the grammar, because people want to read correct text in English, and is it going to watermark that and say, yeah, this is AI generated content? Is that AI generated? Um, so they are taking copyright on this sneaky way to take copyright. So it's a copyright by Claude, not by you. This is completely opposite of abusing AI and say, hey, Claude, write me 100 words article or post about something. That is a clear plagiarism and use of AI. But how you distinguish between original content and the content that is generated by AI, which is problematic. So by disguising themselves and hiding behind these regulations, they are putting their watermark everywhere, even where it doesn't belong. So if they generate code, it's a well known. I think, I don't know. Is it because I don't use Cloud Code? I don't know. Is it still a thing that it put itself as a co-author in
That's
PRs
still a
and
thing.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
So they are taking copyright of that work, but are they giving you the? I know they don't, but just rhetorical question: are they giving the source of the answer and saying, yeah, this is a copyright by that book. This is a copyright by Paul's video about something. We generated this answer based on Ryan's article about the promises. No, they don't do that, but they will gladly watermark the content that does not belong to them. So this is what I find problematic, and how they are looking for a holes for a greater good. We discussed a lot about this greater good, about the stuff they are doing, which I'm not gonna go into to that rabbit down to that rabbit hole right now. But the that's the thing. This is what I found problematic. So watermarking itself and the general idea about this regulation is good, but the solution is not. This is a problem.
Yeah, while you were talking, it made me. I'll give a case for why this actually is really bad. Or as I didn't think about this way until I started thinking about how gold and how chocolate works, and the I think this is actually, it could be, I'm just throwing it out there. What is it? The guy I watch, Meet Kevin, on YouTube sometimes. He says, "Don't sue me, bro." So this is my conspiracy theory. Okay, they're data washing. So by them, it's not even about us. They're masquerading it underneath the idea of, hey, all these people are now doing cybercrime, et cetera. I think that's the narrative. I think they're data washing. I think that they're going to take massive amounts of the compute that they have. They're going to run back through all the original works, and all these like prompts that are happening and so on, which then allow them to create their own set of anthropic derived information where they have no potential to be sued by authors or anybody behind it. And I think that's a potentially a very hidden thing in all this, which you made me think of while you're going. So it could be potentially for them underneath the idea that it's to stop cybercrime, and so on. Because man, what a great get out of jail free card there, right?
That definitely would track. That
Yeah,
makes a
right.
ton of sense. Because I was also thinking, how are they going to make sure that they keep their own signals clean when they do their own scraping, right? If say a portion of the output that they're scraping was written by Claude, they want to be able to say like, oh, we already own that, we don't need to re-scrape it.
Yeah.
And it only benefits them anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, on the fly here, obviously, so it may be ridiculous coming out. Just, bear with me. But, let's take like a Harry Potter book. They rip the spine off, they run it through, they use their secret combination of words and sequences with their specific, hey, we're gonna switch the sentences around in this structure. Therefore, we've watermarked it. And now they own Harry Potter. And they do it for every single book that they can get their hands on. And now they own every single piece of work
That's right.
without
Because if you
any
think
link to
about
anything.
what the model, when they say large language model, specifically what the model is a bunch of concepts mapped in a high dimension numerical space. So once it reads Harry Potter, it puts together all the concepts that are in Harry Potter into its knowledge space, right? So from then on, every single idea of a British boy wizard belongs to them, and then they can then watermark that.
Yeah, yeah, and I
It's
think that's super dark. I don't know if anyone's really talking about that. Maybe we're cracking some new ground here. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting.
There is also another thing that and that is sacrificing quality of the model. So you are paying for something. So they are using a limited set of words. It doesn't matter how large that list is. It can be thousands of words. Doesn't matter really. But the problem is that in order to follow this algorithm to watermark it, they will swap words with the synonyms, and it can give sentence to sentence completely different meaning by using those words. So and you are still paying token. You are still paying for that output, and they are intentionally they're intentionally doing it. So that is also problematic, but that's probably somewhere in the terms and conditions if you are using it where you are accepting that kind of behavior. I
Yeah. I wanted to comment on that one too, which is the idea of, we know that the more time that goes on, they've already scanned all the internet. They're now taking these books, they're running them through for the training, and they're running out of data. So they're buying these old companies to get even more data of how do humans interact when it's not being published, right? And I'm sure right now, if we knew everything that's going on in the background by Apple and Google and so on, we would be like, what, But that's at least what we know, which is already, dystopian, which, goes back to the title of the episode. So as you merge all this stuff together, right? And as they have a set, let's make it 10 words just for simplicity. If there's only a set of 10 words that can be used, everything will sound the same. And the value proposition of actually using this for the purposes that they are actually setting up kind of goes away. But there's kind of, there's always that thing, which is why do people do anything, right? And there's always something behind the scenes, right? I talked to one person the other day. I found out they were doing like courses and stuff. Oh, it sounds like I'm in a thunderstorm.
Wow, I
And
heard that one.
yeah, that's
That
good.
was
That
big enough to come
wasn't
through
me
the
hitting
mic.
the table this time.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, and they were making courses, and the courses that they made, you could say that they weren't really that as useful as they thought, and people had paid for it and so on. And then they stopped making it. I always put my conspiracy hat on and go, did you do it out of the kindness of your heart, or did you have pressure from like some legal entity or someone's complaining or there's a lawsuit building but they can, if they get in front of it, then they look like, like, oh, out of the kindness of my heart, I had to do this. I just couldn't stand for it. In similar ways right now with the changes they're doing, maybe the most critical thing, because really when you're running a business, you always work on the most painful thing at the time, is actually the lawsuits coming for all this. And
Oh yeah.
by doing this, yes, it may make the output slightly worse, but if they don't do it, the impact of that could be way worse to their ability to survive. Yeah, so there's training data. There's if you're using it and it's using a very small amount of words and it's reducing that down, even if it's a large amount of words, if it's reducing it down to a specific style and they're sort of locking that in, and they even offer up in that same article that they may give access to third parties to also be able to tell whether or not it was made by Claude. And so we get into this situation where it's like, I think a lot of people right now are using AI because they think that other humans won't know that they were using AI. So the idea that everyone now will know and have a detector whether or not you actually used AI to generate the thing, I think that there's going to be so much chaos
Yeah.
coming.
Shall we put in our software whichever application or service or API we developed uh, copyright by JavaScript Foundation, ECMAScript Foundation actually, or copyright by C++ compiler,
Good
or
point.
assembler, or made by Intel processor, or who own? I mean, did your compiler made the program, or did you write the program? So
I mean, there
this
is precedent for photography where, like, as a photographer, I set up if I set up the whole scene and somebody else pushes the button, am I the photographer or was the person who pushed the button the photographer? Right. And um, there is a photographer who like set out a camera and like a monkey pressed the shutter button when it was in front of the camera. And the monkey does not have the copyright to the image. The photographer does, but it became an issue. It was like, well, I think the monkey the monkey pressed the button. Clearly it belongs. The picture belong. That's it. That's the one. That's the picture.
Yeah, this is the first time I see this.
So there is precedent for whether or not the compiler holds, you know, the copyright or the intention, and it does change how we view software now. Like, what is the intention? Where did the intention for this software come from? And it's a great question. I think that as the AI tools get uh, more conversational, they're still being guarded and gate kept and held behind some lab with some intention. So, they want to control it. And that is very dystopian when you think about like the compiler itself is now fighting against you if you thought it was a friendly compiler.
Speaking of data and abusing data and the lawsuits, so I also saw the article, but that story will probably develop in a few days, weeks, or months, related to Facebook and abusing data about the teenagers. The scary part there is that it was literally a policy with the intention to get that data and train the models and there are like 29 states involved in the US, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But this will be interesting to follow because I don't think it will stop there, or maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that the all these policies have existed for a long time with these companies, especially the Facebook, Instagram, now Meta side, where they were trying so hard to win attention at any cost necessary, especially when TikTok came onto the map as well, and they had competition now for the first real time, and then YouTube Shorts came into, and it's just to an extreme level where I suppose what we just keep talking about sort of the same thing, which is all the either everything has been thrown out the window and there's nothing that exists anymore and nothing's real, or all this stuff is going to come like a train slamming into a wall. And I feel like that's actually what's happening right now. A full high-speed train heading at a wall, and all these companies sold themselves off a cliff, and they're not going to be able to even jump off in time before it hits. And then, hey, we're just engineers. We just keep working and doing stuff, right? And then they'll and we're seeing
But
the open source side.
maybe
Yeah.
models will jump off the train so they can escape.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, maybe so. And so, I mean, we're seeing it with the open source side on the coding too, where the performance that's coming out of these models is actually on par. The only AI that I've used for coding has been up to Opus 4.7, 4.8. It was enough for me to build out like little demo projects. I knew that I was never going to actually use like the AI to take it to a full architecture and so on. That might have just been because of that 20% gap that I had. Maybe other people are more effective with it. I don't know, but I was only trying to build stuff locally on my computer. If I wanted to build it to actually deploy onto the cloud or AWS, I would have taken a different approach in terms of how I built it out. But I was just trying to throw something up, make something show up on the screen, etc. And now that these local models, which we have people inside the company like Almir is leading this front alongside Felipe, we're seeing that there's actually some parity between the open source models, even on relatively small hardware, relatively small, to 4.7 for Opus. And that's pretty dang good with a software harness around it to actually, as a senior engineer, to actually see things happen. Almir, can you comment on that a little bit?
Oh yes, definitely. So thanks also for bringing that up. And yeah, I'm working alongside with our Felipe. Shout out to him. So the open source will save the world. So for those who are not very familiar with the history of the open source and the GNU project, I highly recommend to find articles or videos or something documentary about how everything started. And it started because of the issues with the printer and the closed driver software, and uh, and now we have a Linux. And you mentioned at the very beginning how China is adopting Linux, but they are not actually the first who are doing it. Germany and France, I think in Europe. I don't know which country. There are a couple of countries in the European Union that already did this because Linux is mature enough as a desktop. In early days, it wasn't. Now it is. Also, these models at early days, so Cloud Code and Codex and the Copilot, they were like magic and miracle. And now open source community is catching up. So these open weights and these models, I have a strong hope that they will become. They actually became useful enough, and we are considering to start use them heavily. We already doing some tests, benchmarks. We already produced some and got some meaningful results. So I believe that these open source weights and models are have a bright future, and we are we jumped onto that train, and we'll see where that leads. Will that crash onto the wall, or it will or is it going to to lead us somewhere where we want. We'll see, but definitely worth looking into, and definitely if you're a company and the representative of the company and watching this, if you need consultancy on that, we definitely have smart people who knows uh, how to how to do that. And Felipe is only one that we mentioned, but there are plenty in the SMS Guru that could help with consultancy and implementation on that side.
I mean, we must be only, you know, a few keystrokes away from releasing our own most dangerous model, right? Like the serverless guru model that's so dangerous, we can't release it.
We have something, but it's too dangerous. We need to
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
we have it. Like we would love to share it with y'all, but it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, his name is David. He likes
Yeah.
Pokemon. He can mix steaks, you know.
Yeah, actually, we're the one that made Amex. No, just kidding. We're doing this really weird, you know. Are you confused? Yeah. No, that's awesome. I just to go to the point about open source, I think it's really cool. It actually made me go, hey, look, you know, this was amazing what was done in the past. A lot of the even the data centers that run globally, I mean, they're not running Windows or Apple, right? They're running Linux and stuff. And so I guess to the more like personal usage and requiring that in enterprise environments and so on, it's been sort of lagging. Which brings us back to blockchain and how I think that even though blockchain has been idle for a while, you know, it could reemerge. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think it's great. And I would also say that anybody that's, although it's open source software, this content we're doing right now, we're sharing our thoughts openly. Articles, same thing. Any code contributions that you've ever made, even if it wasn't to a formal package, it's now inside the AI a machine. And so technically, you know, you did open source there, and we'll never know the full impact of it. But I think this is where it's all headed. I mean, with the ability to have something on smaller compute, which feels like it's just going to get better and better as they dial this stuff in. And then better and better software harnesses around the models to actually make them even more useful. I mean, I feel like and then the idea that, hey, all of these different platforms and these companies sold us all off a river, you know, off the cliff. And so, you know, you kind of think more about privacy now. You think more about where do I actually want my data to sit. I have something happen today actually, which was really weird. I was sitting down for lunch. I turned on the TV. I watched a YouTube video while eating. And then one of the recommended videos had 68 views on it, only 68. And it was talking about US Treasury yield curve, which is something that I was working on in private, only in private. And I sent maybe one message about it through Slack, but that's it. The rest of it would have only been over just voice with the phone being on. And I just like, it just really like, I was like, wow, 68 views, not even something that's like, hey, this is like millions of views, everyone's seen it. It was like, no, you know, I was looking at the S&P 500 against the US Treasury yield curve over like a 10-year period, just like day by day. And I found something interesting in that, something for a different time. But the fact that it showed up there, I was like, wow, you know, it's like, this is, that might have actually been for something important. And you know, how like who sucked that information up? You know, I've got a Google Pixel, so probably I guess Google did it, and Google owns YouTube, and so they connect the dots there. But
I think the
Hmm.
really unspoken part is just how good patterns can emerge out of our behaviors. Like we don't like patterns are coming out of our behaviors that we don't even see. And because of the way these algorithms have been trained, it's like they hunt for it so hard that they're able to pick it up. Even the slightest signal that you wouldn't even think you were broadcasting, it's able to now pick up and reflect back at you. And that's how good it's become. And that's the scary part.
Yeah, so I've got DuckDuckGo, for instance, and whenever I open a new tab, it says 996 tracking attempts have been blocked. And it gives me a full breakdown of everyone that's trying to track me across the internet. So clearly I didn't do good enough here. And, you know, but I'm like, you know, it's like, I already got that conspiracy hat pretty far in my head now. So I'm like, if everything else that we've talked about is true. You know what I mean? Like where I mean,
There is
you know what
nowhere
I
to
mean?
hide, Ryan. There is
Yeah,
nowhere to go.
seriously. I was like, oh, my bad. I didn't turn my phone off and put it in a Faraday cage before I started talking to a person in person in my room. You
I
know,
mean,
like,
this is what happens in the movie Inception. His wife is forever convinced that she is trapped in the dream, and the only way to make it out is to jump off the building. And with that,
nobody do that, by the way. That's a really dark you can't transition on that. Yeah,
and with
so
that, let's go to our super happy let's go to the super happy fun time Sam Altman meme. What did you just pull up, Jonathan?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say what you're talking about, Ryan, makes me think of this. I feel like maybe it got incepted into my mind that we had talked about this last episode, but if we haven't, this is something I saw recently where I'm not sure where this was, but Sam Altman was, talking about the future of, maybe the next generation or two of AI, and this is kind of where he sees it heading, and it's pretty horrific. Let me know if you guys can hear this or not.
No,
not
we
yet.
can't hear it.
No, okay.
Maybe we can read it.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
A
let's try it. Yeah.
descendant of ChatGPT. What on earth? That just gave me the creeps to think
You're-
about a descendant of ChatGPT. Like that's just I don't know,
Right? Yeah.
something's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, I missed that one. I mean, if you think about it, I
Who
now I
wants
will
to
have bad
who
dreams.
wants to read it? You
Oh, yeah, let's do a dramatic reading. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
go for it, Paul. Go for it.
Yeah. I think we are close to a world where you can have a descendant of ChatGPT watch your computer screen all the time. Watch every meeting you're in, like record every call, everything like that. Have perfect context of your life, everything you see. You choose what you can connect it to your texts or email or docs or slacks or whatever. Ah, Gollum. But if you're the CEO of a startup, you can do more context. You can't keep track of it all. You're just a puny mortal. But you can have ChatGPT's ultra famous grandson work for you. It'll just tell you exactly what to do. You shouldn't even have to think. It'll do this thing for you. ChatGPT's grandson. It'll control your life. Subscribe today. I can't even read this. This is too bad. Like
Yeah,
this is
it's bad.
This is
Let's get
even
some time.
more evil.
In the next 6 months is what.
Oh yeah,
he's saying.
they continue to say the same thing, right? Like, oh, we're at AGI in a year. You know, it goes back to the too dangerous to release every
Well,
6
what happened?
months. Yeah,
What
yeah. Go
happened
ahead,
with
Damir.
AGI? I mean, nobody's talking about AGI anymore. What happened?
You know, I don't know how deep we want to go. We only got like, we're at 1 hour and
Yeah.
23 minutes, but okay, I'll say one thing that's before that. What Jesus GPT. If any have you ever heard of Jesus GPT yet? I
I
didn't know
have
about
not.
this. I didn't know about this, but I was talking to again Edo, our CTO, and he mentioned that someone has made an app where they basically you can talk to Jesus, and apparently it does really well. And if that's not the most dystopian thing you've heard, so now you go, okay, well, let's take it to that. What about Muhammad? What about Buddha? What about Trump? What about I don't know. I don't know. Name some more people. Who else are like held up like this? Speak to dead people, of course. I mean, you can take like someone's book. Maybe they passed away. Jim Simmons ran Renaissance Technologies. You can talk to Jim Simmons now and pay $5 a month or whatever for usage of that. I mean, it's to such extremes. And I asked that, I'm like, can you even imagine 5 years ago if you would like what you just said, like that being a thing? Because I mean, it's just so bizarre and they're profiting off of it. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. They're
Oh,
going
no.
to churches and they're giving them profit sharing agreements to be able to drum up money from the congregation by getting them to subscribe to it. So they're, I'm just assuming it's a preacher standing at the front doing their sermon and then being like, all right, and if you want to scan the QR code behind me, you know, you can talk to Jesus, and
I mean,
it's just like,
yeah,
and then they get a kickback.
seems like bringing Tupac back as a hologram was already kind of weird enough for me, you know, and like on a totally different scale would be bringing back Jesus as a GPT.
Hey man, the future's full of it, you know. it's the everything they've talked about, all the prosperity, you know, everything. It reminds me actually of Anthropic, and Ed Zitron was talking about this as well on his newsletter. And just I think it was maybe the podcast he did. I'm sure he talks about it everywhere, but he said no one batted an eye when Anthropic said, "Yeah, we're just gonna like pivot a little bit and like also build out a medical pharmaceutical company at the same time." And it's just like, what? You know, what are you guys talking about? Like, you think it's that easy? All of the machinery, all the science, everything behind it, actually testing stuff, et cetera. Like, no, we have this thing that'll regurgitate medical information, and we have the compute, and so we'll just make this breakthrough happen, you know, and like build an entire company around it. It's like, it's not how it works, man. Like and it's like everyone should know that because we're all adults, right? Even the media, right? They're all adults too. Uh, What's the qualification to do that?
Totally irrational. It's like when Midjourney said that they are going to get into medical scanning by building golden saunas in San Francisco. And you're just like, okay, yeah, why not? Why not?
Also,
And
they
with
totally
that,
stole that from Lost, right?
not Lost, Devs.
Oh, did they do it in that too? I just remember at the
Yeah.
end of Lost, you know, spoiler, there's a golden water thing and you walk into it and it like, I don't know.
Yeah, Lost was maybe that's why our civilization is going down. There really isn't like a TV show that everyone has been able to gather around and be like, wow, WTF that TV show. Now we have to be like, oh my God, WTF reality. It's now all dystopian.
You can find
And
that
with
TV
that,
show on the 24/7 AI slot
okay,
channel.
Jonathan,
on
you
Roku.
just brought up the best thing to end on. We've been at this for almost an hour and a half. So much has happened in the last 2 weeks. I can't believe all of the news stories that we get to. Jonathan, what did you find us here?
Oh, so I was just, minding my own business, looking at different articles for AI, looking for things to talk about. We even get into like any of the stuff about flock and all this stuff that we had prepped up. But this was something that I was like, I'm going to make sure I ham fist this in at some point. So do you guys know about Roku? I think it's like a little thing that you plug into your TV and it shows
It's a set top box.
Yeah, right. And it has like particular channels you can like do like, oh, I just want happy days, all just happy days. There's a channel for that. Oh, I want Japanese news about whatever. They have a channel for that. But now Roku has a channel that is just AI content with AI slop ads and commercials playing in between the AI generated programs. And the thing about it being AI generated is that it can be just whatever, right? So a lot of the time it could be like it'll be like, oh, here's an AI generated video of like a cat and its kittens, and then here's an ad about it's a woman crying because no one's buying her sandals, and then there'll be like a AI generated video that's like horrifying of like like here's a badger transforming into like a raccoon, or like I don't know, just something really scary. And it's who asked for this? Why are we heading towards this? And like what was like the thought process behind this? Who launched it and why is it a thing? I just think this is like so dystopian in a way where like, don't worry guys, TV's figured out. Now it's just 24/7 slop and slop commercials. So you can't miss out on the most needed ads. Come on, guys.
Wow. I am speechless that
I
Yes.
thought it can't be worse than TikTok. Oh boy,
That's,
I was wrong.
They
Oh, man.
outdid themselves this time, Jonathan. The AI slop machine has really outdone itself, and it probably uses your smart TV connection to scrape more internet while you're watching it. So
That's true.
Exactly.
that
Actually, I
is
think the title's wrong. I think it says, like, go up to the top. I think it's supposed to say, YouTube is all AI slop content now. Is that what it says? Oh man, yeah, that sounds about right. Aren't all the ads now like starting to be like there's a good probably a quarter of ads now are just AI slop. And man, trying to look up something on YouTube for I don't know anything about history. There's so many AI history YouTube channels now, and they're
yeah.
just all over everything. At least they're labeling it to some degree, but hell, I mean, even the people you have humans that are presenting entirely AI generated content, and you also have AI avatars that are doing that, and then you just have
And there
no
is
human at all. You
and
know?
there is a problem. There is a problem also because some sensitive topics are being filtered and biased. No matter how bad or good history is, it is what it is. It happened that way, and it should be preserved that way. And we should talk about the things as they are, not as we would like them to be. Because I mean, we can talk about the future, how we would like things to happen, but things that happened, they already happened, and they should be written and remembered in way they are. So with the AI, we have a bias, and we have, well, let's say, alternative history and alternative facts, and that should not be taken
Yeah, that's
seriously.
definitely the
But
dystopian
the
mark of the
students
day.
are, yeah,
Alternate
but the
history.
students are
Hell
learning
yeah.
from those books on the different topics, and that's the problem about these books, about this stuff. Not only about the history, about everything.
Yep. And the more content they make, the more they get sucked up into the AI training, and the more that it basically we talked about JPEG frying, which I'm still not convinced it's a real thing, but I took it as, hey, if I used a nice camera and I took a photo and then someone sent that to me and then I tried to screenshot that, I lose all the pixel density, right? Like it's completely, if I zoomed into that, now it's hyper pixelated and grainy. And if you continue to do that process, it might get worse and worse over time. I don't know, maybe it's like I take a screenshot on my laptop, which has a higher pixel ratio, but then I take a photo of the photo on my laptop with my phone, and it just continues to keep
If
going further
you
and further
no,
back.
this is a legitimate thing. If you continually screenshot the same thing over and over and over again, it will devolve into like a noisy mess. It's an art thing that we've been doing in data moshing for like years now.
Okay.
Have you guys ever had like in school they give you like, here's your worksheet for the day. Like look at example table 1, and it's like just a black blob of this image that used
Yeah.
to be like a map of something, but it's because they've scanned the scan and scanned it so many times that it's like now meaningless.
Well, if
Yeah.
we were gonna go, where are we headed? That's probably where we're headed. Like
Great.
good luck on their end. They created this huge mess. They're gonna try to
That's
watermark
exactly
it.
what AI is doing with the data
They're just
over
gonna
and over
keep
again, and recycling the
cycle,
data,
recycle,
and that
recycle.
you get the blurry image about the facts, even the science, even the programming languages, even the. I mean, there are
Yep. And
layers.
then yeah, so and maybe it's too early to tell, but who knows how that affects even these coding models and stuff, right? Over time. So there's
Definitely will affect it.
I
Everything's
mean, it's probably gonna affect
slightly
everything,
blurry.
There will be
Yeah.
regression, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Welcome to the future where everything's slightly blurry.
Yeah. We're going backwards.
Well, with that, I think we've had a really, really cool show today. We've gone through so many great stories, and it doesn't look like it'll slow down anytime soon. So, thank you, everybody who joined us from the chats, Kim in the comments. Love having the interaction. Once again, this is AI Psychosis podcast from SLS Guru. We do this every couple of weeks. And if you've got stories that you want to send in, you probably found this on LinkedIn or Twitter. Send it to us. Leave a comment. Tell us what you think the future of AI slop is going to be like. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, thank you all, everybody. We will see you next time.